Hey guys, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to share with you a principle that I teach my students, and something that I repeat to my students a lot. And that is, I get it. When people say I get it, it is not the same thing as I know it. And a lot of people, adults included, just human beings in general, confuse these. Not so much confused, but they trick themselves, should I say? They deceive themselves. They mistakenly think one is the same as the other. Boy, I'm trying to look for words here. They mistakenly think that one is the same as the other, and they're not. Okay, so here's what I mean. When I'm explaining whether it's math rules or grammar rules for the SAT, just as an example, okay? When I'm teaching these things, I ask my students, do you get it? Now, what I'm teaching, and these rules are not rocket science here, almost all of the students, in fact, all the students answer, yeah, I get it. But I pause and I stop to say, but that doesn't mean you know it. And knowing something is the only way that you make progress. Getting something, merely getting something, just means that you intellectually can follow what I'm explaining to you. And any person with average intelligence can follow and understand and comprehend the things that I'm explaining. But that doesn't mean you know it. Like if somebody woke you up, I always ask my students, if somebody woke you up 2:30 in the morning and said, hey, can you explain this thing? Could you do it? And if you can't, without any notes or without any help, you're half asleep. And if you cannot, then that means you don't know it. But if I asked you, what is 1 + 1? There's no hesitation. Nobody says, oh, that's a good one. Let me see. Oh man, I think I learned that at one point. I knew it at one point. We don't do that. 1 + 1 is 2, and we know it because we know it. We didn't just get it, we know it. Now, how do you get to, oh, I get it, to I know it? How do you get to the I know it level? Because that's the level you have to get to. Now, I'm talking generally about a lot of things here. I'm just giving you the example of, me teaching my students SAT principles and concepts and rules and things like that. But if you're an adult, anything, whether it's work or whether, whatever you're learning about, don't think that because you get something that you know it. And knowing it is the only level at which you make improvement, okay? So when you get something, I say, here's how you go from I get it to I know it. It's very simple, but it's seldom done. And it's repetition. It's called practice. And Zig Ziglar, the late motivational speaker, said that repetition is a mother of mastery. And this is so true. As human beings, the only way that we really master something, we get it and we know it, we're going from I get it to I know it, is repetition. And a lot more repetition than people think. It's not just repeating it once or twice. Like I ask students all the time, did you review this? Did you repeat this? Did you study this week? And they say, oh yeah. I said, what did you do? I reviewed it. I read it over. And I said, reviewing something and reading it over is not enough. Did you master it? And if you didn't master it, because it's very possible to review and kind of read over it, kind of think about it, kind of glance over it, kind of skim over it, but not know it. Okay. Remember, knowing it means 1 + 1 is 2. There's no hesitation. You know it like that. It's in your head. It's second nature. And that's the level at which you have to know things. So how do you get there? Again, repetition. Many more repetitions than you think. A lot of repetition. But it's not just repetition. Improvement is not just repetition. It's not just practicing. You have to practice the right things. It's very possible that you practice the wrong things. And if you practice the wrong things, you're going to do a lot of work and not get anywhere. There's a lot of examples like this, right? And students do this all the time. And I give the example many times of students taking doing a lot of test prep book, these practice tests, right? Oh, I've taken so many practice tests. I've done so many problems. And yet, why isn't my score going up? Because you're practicing the wrong things. You're repeating the wrong things, okay? Or someone says, I'm doing all these exercises, but how come I'm not losing weight? Because you're practicing the wrong things. And you're not practicing the right things. It's the same thing with everything. Why am I doing this, but why am I working so hard but not making enough money? Because you're not practicing the right things. It's all about not just working hard, because a lot of people work very hard. It's what are you working on? So you got to work on the right things, and then you have to work hard to repeat and master those things. And so I tell my students, once you get it, that's great, but make sure you repeat it enough so you know it. And you got to constantly test yourself to know if you know it, because knowing something is the only level at which you will see improvement in whatever you're doing. And so I've said in past videos, when it comes to major things, it takes a lot of people, usually about 10,000 hours of practice to become a master at that thing. So if you're thinking about, you're starting out as an engineer, just assume that it's going to take you about 10,000 hours of doing that thing to become a master at what you're doing. If you're in sales, understand that it's going to take you about 10,000 hours to become a master salesperson. And that's just assuming that for 10,000 hours, you constantly practice to get better, right? If you're starting out in some kind of sport, it's going to take probably 10,000 hours of doing it to get to a really high level. And so this is a general number. Of course, it's not exact, but that's about 3 years or so for most people. Now, some things I felt like I've mastered in 3 years, something in 1.5 years, something in 2 years, but it's just, it's different. There's a range, but it takes a lot more practice than people think. And again, it's practicing the right things. So don't think that I get it means that you know it. Make sure that once you get it, you practice enough so that you get to the I know it phase level, because that's the only level at which your SAT score increases, that your pay increases, that your relationships get better, that you get more fit, that you get whatever the thing is that you're working on, that it moves to the next higher level, improvement level. It's only when you know it. So today, I just wanted to share that principle with you today, and I hope you found that it was helpful. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.